Hi and welcome to another gaming video, and in today's video I want to talk about Japanese DS models. Now I've got a Japanese DSi XL, which is called a DSi LL. In fact, I've had a few of them, and it is my go-to console for playing DS games. I absolutely love it. You boot it up and the system menu is all in Japanese and it just feels fantastic. It did make setting it up a little bit difficult because all the menus are in Japanese, and at the time I didn't have a DSi XL to compare the menus to, but I got there. And all of the models prior to the 3DS are region free, so all the DSs are region free. They'll play games from any region. So if you buy a Japanese DS, you can play your English games in it in English. It's just the menu systems that are in Japanese, and I assume if you have a Japanese game and you play that on an English DS, then it will play in Japanese. That came to a head when they released the 3DS because they are region locked. So if you bought a Japanese 3DS, then you'd need to install custom firmware to remove the region lock and change the system language. Unfortunately, well actually no, I think you can. If you've got a DSi or a DSi LL, if you install custom firmware and the Twilight menu, there may be an option in there somewhere to change the system language. I left mine to Japanese just because I thought it was pretty cool, and that's why I wanted a Japanese DS. Installing custom firmware on a DSi or a 3DS or any of the models after that is a fairly simple thing to do, and it's a great way of getting a cheap 3DS, 2DS, DSi. And apart from system language, which I think you can get round, if you buy an XL model, like the DSi XL or the 3DS XL or the new 2DS XL, then they're all called LLs if they're Japanese. It's just that Japan don't understand or don't use XL. They use LL to mean bigger. So all of those are labelled DSi LL, new 2DS LL. But other consoles like the DSi and the original DS and the DS Lite, they are just called that. You'll notice on the bottom of them they've got Japanese stickers, and the system menu will be in Japanese. But like I said, all of those, the DS, the DS Lite, the DSi and the DSi XL can play English games. You just have a Japanese menu, but move to a 3DS and upwards and it gets a bit more tricky, and you need custom firmware to play European games or whatever region you're in that isn't Japan. I love Japanese DS models, and I'm currently looking for a Japanese DS Lite, which will look exactly the same and will still say DS Lite on the bottom, but it will have a Japanese sticker on the bottom and the system menu will be in Japanese. I just want to add one to my collection, and I think they're very cool. So let me know if you've got a Japanese DS or if you've got one of these LL models. Do you use it as it is? Have you installed custom firmware? Has it ever caused you any sort of language barriers? Let me know. Link, like, subscribe, enjoy.